Welcome to Starting Line. I'm Chris Carpenter. Spring has sprung and Minnesotans are finally able to get out and enjoy parks and trails without having to wear a snowsuit. There are thousands of public parks throughout the state, but one lawmaker is pushing for funding specifically for the construction and renovation of public skate parks. Representative Tama Theis sponsors House File 4423, which would, in part, establish a grant program for skate parks throughout the state. The Republican from St. Cloud explained how her bill would accomplish this.
It would do it. There would be, is it $3 million that would go right to a park in Minneapolis. And even though it's in Minneapolis, I'm okay with that, because when we look in the future, we're going to be having the X Games possibly quite a bit in the next coming years. But what we're seeing is skate parking has already advanced so much that we're talking about Olympics in coming years. So I'm okay with quite a bit of the money going to the Minneapolis area, but I also look at $2 million going to grants to outstate Minnesota, where quite frankly there isn't a lot to do, and this is a way for these communities to get that money, even though there's a lot of, I would say, our young people that skateboard, even the little kids too, but it's really hard for them to justify the monies to do this. And I just see a need for it across the board. So I'm very excited. I think it's a nice way to start, but when I look at what X Games is doing, how the popularity of skateboard is doing, my thing is, my son was his agenda when he was president of the Mayor's Youth Commission in St. Cloud back in the late 90s. This is what he talked about, the need for it. And I kept saying, show me a chubby skateboarder. You don't see them. These guys put in a lot of time, a lot of energy. They've been at our house on a Sunday, Friday afternoon, whatever it is, and they go through gallons of water because they're constantly pounding it. And they'll continue to try one trick until they get it. So for me, it was always, this is a good way for our kids to get rid of all their extra energy, actually physical activity. It's second to none. But I just love the relationships the skateboarders themselves have, because you will have the older guys that are skating, and then you'll have the little guys, and the older guys really do take care of the younger guys. And it's just fun to watch the generations, the ages, interplay with each other and help each other out.
For all the types of parks that are out there, why did you decide on public skate parks?
Well, again, when my son was looking at skate parks, we did a little bit of looking at some of the parks that were available. In fact, he was with my husband at events, and they checked out what was available in Arizona and New Mexico. And we would go up to Superior, Wisconsin to check out what they were doing as well. So I just think it's a good fit. Ideally, it would be great if they were indoors, but I think the guys really appreciate the outdoors. And I will tell you that in St. Cloud, even though it's December, and if we haven't had a lot of snow and the temperatures aren't horrendous, they will be out there. And even after it snows sometimes, they'll shovel some things out as long as the temperatures are okay, and they are still out there skateboarding. They're just so dedicated to it.
And it seems like, I mean, back when I was a kid, there weren't a lot of skateboard parks or anything like that. So is it safe to say that the way kids exercise nowadays has changed a little bit?
Oh, it's changed a lot. It truly has. Just looking at my kids alone, I mean, Jonathan not only skateboarded, but he also BMX biked, and he also mountain biked. And it's just really, they did a lot of inline skating, you name it. So I think it's a lot different than what we grew up with. I mean, most of the time it was, for me, living in a small town in central Minnesota, we didn't even have soccer. That wasn't even a thing. It was ball. It was either baseball or softball. We didn't have other options. So now when I look at what's going on, it just makes sense that we support some of the avenues that these kids are showing us that they want to have here.
Representative Theis's bill has been referred to the House State Government Finance Committee. We have just 2 weeks left before the legislature must constitutionally end the 90th legislative session. Nearly 4,500 bills have been introduced over the last 2 years, and you can learn more about any of them by visiting the House website, www.house.mn. Thanks for watching The Starting Line. We'll see you next time.